What's going on, guys? Trey back again, here to bring you another video. In this video, I'm going to be doing my review for The Walking Dead Governor Special, issue number 1. Okay, so it hit stands 2 days ago at this point, and done a video in the past talking about what we can kind of expect for it, and was pretty much pointing on with it. This review will contain some spoilers about it, although there isn't a whole lot of new content with it. I counted them. There are a total of 7 pages if you count the new cover, not counting the variants, because the variants are just really reprints of other stuff in the past, or one of the variants is like a page of this put on the cover with color. So that being said, 7 pages, is it worth it? I'm not sure. I mean, if you already have the issue number 27 of The Walking Dead, and you've already read through the whole Governor arc and everything, then it probably isn't worth it to you, because all this basically is 7 new pages of, the Governor's sort of beginning story, and then a reprint of issue 27 verbatim, the exact issue included in it, probably just to fill out the comic book. Now, there's a lot of things about this I don't like. Number one, if you're going to do a special, sort of series, spin-off series, I would think you'd probably want to do an entire comic book. I mean, a comic book is not that many pages. Like, what are they? Like 25, 30 pages for $3? I mean, normally it's in black and white. Maybe Charlie Adler wouldn't be able to do it. They'd have to get another artist to do it. But I'd like to see them just do, spin-off series of The Walking Dead as well, and have other characters be at the forefront. Let us, have a totally different Walking Dead story out there as well, to sort of read and go along with. Now, if they're just going to do it as a special mini-series or whatever, I don't have a problem with that, but I'd like to see it completely be its own thing. This having 7 new pages and then a total reprint, which, and even with the reprint, it's so effortless because it's like Image Comics. All they did was they took like the exact issue and just put it in here. Instead of taking things that are applicable to the Governor, they just put the exact issue in there. And the same thing with the Michonne is that it's at a different time period, and not all of it has to do with the Governor. Like they didn't just take out the pages that are applicable to the Governor's part. They took out other stuff too that was with other storylines or other things that were going on at the prison that had nothing to do with the Governor. So it's like I'm reading this Governor special, I'm going through it, and I'm really enjoying it because of new stuff. And then I just start seeing old stuff, and I just start flipping through it because it's like, number one, I've read it already. At least 3 times, because I've read over the Walking Dead comic series at least 3 or 4 times for most of it. And number 2, it's like, this isn't applicable to the Governor. This has nothing to do with him. This has to do with, these characters at the prison. So really laziness on their part to at least not even cut out certain parts of the book and put in the parts that only apply to the Governor. I would have liked it a lot more if they reprinted it, but only put in the stuff that was pertaining to the Governor, because it's supposed to be his special, right? Not just other random nonsense that's going on because it was in the same issue. Extreme laziness. Honestly, I don't think it would take long to cut it and just put in certain pages out of a couple different books that are applicable to get somebody started into the Governor's story. You can have Rick and have what's going on with Rick because he's meeting the Governor for the first time. That's fine. But the stuff at the prison that was also left in here, I don't care for that. I don't like it. I think that's kind of lazy on their part. Very lazy. How long would it have taken for someone at Image to cut it up and just put in stuff pertaining to him? Not long. So anyway, that kind of laziness kind of args me. But it is only $3. So, it's not like it's $5 or $4 here. It's only $3. It's not that much. And I do like the new content a lot. Even though it's only 7 pages, I think it's really interesting. I don't want to spoil it too much, but basically it goes through the Governor, and he is sort of in a Walmart or like a grocery store type thing. He finds some fish tanks, and he, of course, is putting together his fish tanks for what he's going to create. And he kind of in here explains it. And I like the way it is explained as to why the Governor has a bunch of fish tanks full of heads. Because in the series, it sort of hits us out of nowhere. We're going through the series, we're reading it, and then all of a sudden it's like, here's this guy who's a leader of another town or group of survivors. And almost right off the bat, we see him, he's doing a bunch of things, we meet him, he's a cruel bastard. We get to know him a little bit. we see him go in and sit down at night, like after he's had a day or whatever, and he's just watching these bunch of heads that are inside fish tanks on this wall. It's like, what the hell is this? You know, it's just, this guy's a lunatic or whatever. But now that we go back and we actually hear him explain it, from his perspective, it actually kind of makes sense as to why he does it. It's because he's trying to adapt himself to the horrors of the world so that he can be a better leader for the people. But then as we're starting to sort of be like, oh, okay, that makes sense as he's explaining to this other character, then he comes full circle back, and he answers when the guy asks, what are you going to put in them? And he answers, well, I was thinking about something along the lines of severed heads, starting with yours. And then he kind of smiles, you know, like that, like just an evil smile by Charlie Adlard in his artwork. Very cool. You can actually check out most of it. It was released as a preview for the issue. I'll put a link in the description so you can actually go and read it yourself if you like. The part that's in the preview is actually the only new stuff. The other stuff is just the reprints. So it's like whatever anyway. It doesn't matter. But so I did like that. I thought that was cool to see. And I think they could go full-fledged with doing a spin-off series of the Governor, kind of getting to know him. I will mention, though, that I don't know if it's 100% believable that he's evil just because he's evil. You know, like he's going to tell this guy, I was thinking of putting severed heads in it, starting with yours. Now, why does he want to use him as a severed head when the guy just killed a walker 3 feet away from him? Or when there's walkers all over the place? Why kill this guy if he's a part of your group and a part of your town? Is he stupid? Is that why? Maybe it's because he's dumb, because he did fire a gun, which was dumb. So maybe the governor just feels like this guy's useless. He's a dumbass. He's a loser. So I'll just kill him, whatever. He's useless anyway. That kind of makes sense. I guess I could see it that way. But from the other perspective, it also is kind of like, you know, it's never good if you have a character that's just evil because they're evil. Like, oh, he's just evil because he's evil. He's a jerk because he's a jerk. You know, it's better for us as a reader to be more invested in the story to the point where we kind of understand what happened to him and what decisions he made that led towards him doing these things, and have it be logical. Like in the television series, if you want to say that Shane is evil at the end with what he's about to do with Rick, which I guess you can say he kind of is, when you see the background detail behind why he's going to try to do that, it makes sense. He's evil because, or he's doing this evil action because of selfish desire to be with this woman and the baby, because he believes it's his. That, to me, is a lot smoother and doesn't feel, you know, contrived, whereas you're just saying the governor is evil and he wants to cut this dude's head off just because he does, you know. I think I explained that pretty well. And I also like in the TV series how we get to see a lot more behind the scenes about David Morrissey's governor, because he is very different from this one, in my opinion. At least he looks a lot different, and he feels a lot different to me when he gives speeches and that kind of stuff, and he looks really clean-cut and all these things. He's a very different character. And we also get to see, you know, why is he doing these evil things when he goes off and does these things? Well, that's their way of surviving, is by stealing from other survivors. So that's why he does these things. He's really nice to people within his town, but that's his strategy to survive in the world, is I'm going to take care of my own and screw everybody else that doesn't want to be with me or on my team, because they're against me. They're an enemy. You know, that to me makes more sense than just him wanting to kill this random guy. I guess the best explanation would be, well, he was stupid. He shot that gun off, and he does kind of look, you know, just visually like a bum, like a loser. So I guess maybe he's not that useful to the governor anyway. So his the best way he could serve the governor is by the governor cutting his head off and putting it in a fish tank so he can watch it to be adjusted to the world. Yeah, he's crazy. What am I doing defending a lunatic? He's crazy because he's crazy. Anyway, interesting discussion. But I'm really interested. One thing I want to see is I want to go back through the comic book series, and I want to see if in the series that dude's head is in one of the fish tanks. I got to check that. I'm going to check that later. I'm going to go through. I'm going to find in the trade the issue when we first see the fish tanks. I want to see if that dude's head is zombified in the fish tanks. Because if it is, that would be sick, and that would just be really sick. I got to check. Anyway, I'll check later. I won't do it in time for this video because I got other videos to do and other stuff to do, and this one's going on long enough as it is. I do kind of recommend it. At least the new stuff is real good. The Governor's a huge villain, so it's pretty good. Just, they definitely could have done a lot better with it. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Not a great score. Actually, that's too generous. I'm being a Walking Dead fanboy. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. The new stuff is good, but the reprint is lazy and annoying. That's it for this video, guys. We'll see you for the next one. This is Trev, saying peace.